There is a lot of corporate restructuring going on across the market at the moment, and in many respects, it's quite a stressful time in a lot of corporate environments because companies are sort of sounding people out, trying to work out who goes onto the redundancy lists. People are trying to be recalibrated, moved into different roles within the business, and then obviously some people are being fully exited. And, some of these plans are sort of shrouded in a fair bit of confidentiality and secrecy. So, it's often happening in waves within the organisation, and it's quite demoralising for the people who are left behind. There's no sense of comfort really that they've still got their job. They're then worried that they may be next, or they're then overwhelmed with extra work because now there are less people to do the work that was originally being done. I remember many, many years ago when I was working at Cisco Systems, John Chambers was, one of the high-profile CEOs of that era. And, he did something, that's always just stuck in my mind. Cisco actually, for the first time ever in its history, had to release people to the market. They had to cut a number of people from the operations. And, he came online and he was extremely transparent with why this was happening. He was very transparent with all of the executives that he intended to do one cut, to cut as deep as he possibly had to enable the organisation to then bounce back and not have rolling cuts and have that uncertainty. So he gave everyone this assurance that after these cuts had happened, and it would be traumatic because it would have been the first time the organisation had ever released people, and the people working in Cisco were the best of the best. So it's not like you were releasing, dead wood or low performers. Everyone was a great performer in the organisation. So it was quite traumatic. We were releasing people who loved the company into the market, but he made the point he was going to do it once, go hard, and make sure that we recalibrated and came back together as a team. And I don't see too many executives, too many companies, too many CEOs doing it the John Chambers way at Cisco. Nowadays, it's cut after cut after cut, and it's usually come on the back of years of change management program 101, 102, 103. And so everyone's very fatigued, very stressed. We've had very difficult sort of years. And so what happens is it's very sad for the people who lose their positions, obviously, but it's actually in some respects worse for the people left behind. So my strong advice is if you do have to make cuts, try and do one. If one of these cuts, make it deep, make it harsh if you have to, but try and avoid this rolling brigade of cuts and wave one, wave two, wave three. It just decimates your culture. It decimates the morale in the company. And for the people left behind, you have to recalibrate them and bring them back together as a team. And you need to get them focused on the work at hand, not worrying that they're going to be, sort of on the chopping block next week. And so you've really got to pay attention. And so your leaders are going to become critical. Your communication is going to become critical. And you're going to have to walk the talk if you're going to be able to do these things successfully and recalibrate your business. If you're just cutting for the sake of cutting, because you want to have a few token gestures here and there, I think you're going to pay the price in the long term because people are very sensitive to this now. And, we're seeing a lot of pushback. And I'm getting executives contacting me who are not on the chopping block at all. They're top talent. The company wants to retain them. But because the company is constantly restructuring, not clear on its direction, constantly releasing people, and you've got this constant churn and stress in the operation, people want to get off the ship. And so you may actually, as a result, if you don't get this right, you're going to lose your very best talent. Your top talent will walk. They'll go and find somewhere else. And they'll want to work with leaders who have clear direction, clear parameters on how we're going to go forward, so that you can bring people back together as a team. So consider this. I mean, I know it's not easy. I know there's a lot of corporate restructuring going on across the market, but wherever possible, be completely transparent, completely honest. And if it is the fact that you've got to do wave after wave, be at least honest about it. Be upfront with people. The more upfront you can be, the better, and the more likely it is you're going to preserve your culture as you go through these processes. But I always think of John Chambers, and you know, I seem to recall he almost had a tear in his eye. He was very emotional about having to do this cut. It had never happened in the history of the company, and he stuck to his word. He only did it once, and he did it well. He did it professionally. The people who left were looked after. They all secured new roles, and the people who were left behind came back together as a team. That's the ultimate outcome when you've got to do a corporate restructure.